We are live. Hello, everyone. Hello, Corbin.
Hello, Jake.
So glad to be here with you guys for another show. And we've got a fresh, new, fun time for y'all today. So we'll get into what today's all about if you haven't read the description. Before we do...
Who reads these days?
Certainly not me. I try to read as much as I can, but I do not get to it as often as I should. Anyway, if you don't know me, my name is Jake. I'm a hypnotherapist, a quantum guide. I use hypnosis in my practice in a lot of different ways, but most importantly, to help you connect with you. And I'm joined by Corbin. Introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Corbin. I'm an astrologer. I love doing cycle work and looking at different transits. I love digging into astrology and charts to help better understand what you're here to manifest and what you're working with here in this lifetime. And what's just around the corner. So we're here to do kind of a new thing today. We've decided to get more into like the storytelling lane of everything that goes on with astrology, because it's really cool to talk about astrology in a philosophical or an ideological or even in a forecasting kind of sense. But I think what's more magical about astrology is when we connect the dots and see how we are living that in our daily lives and the ways that the astrology is lived and embodied by all of us here. I really think that helps to give us a deeper understanding of what astrology is all about once we can like see the vast variety of ways that it just shows up in our everyday lives. So our new show here, Lunar Reflections, will be always very close to, the new or full moon. But, just at enough time that we have already a good understanding of what's manifesting in the string for everyone, sharing some of the stories that we've gone through personally, but also then sharing things that we've had from client sessions or heard from our friends and family from that week. The energy of the full moon or the new moon, it does come in just a few days beforehand. It's not like you have to be exactly spot on to be affected by either lunar cycle. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of the idea on what we're doing here.
Yeah, exactly. And before we get into all of that, I have a couple things that I want to point out to you guys. First, I want to give a reminder that I've got my Connect with the Fairies live workshop coming up. This is going to be a really fun event, really centered around community sharing, as well as guided meditation. And this is going to be a opportunity for those of you who are curious or already are connected to the fairies to have that space to play a little bit and to have some fun and tap into the magic here at the end of the year. So that's coming up on December 13th, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, and it's going to be a great time. And yeah, hello to you, Emma, on the replay. Hope you're doing well. Sending you love. And a happy full moon to everyone. It certainly has been an interesting one. Certainly been an interesting one. So part of what we wanted to share or continue to share through these shows is some of the ways that we work with the moon and some of the tools that we use or the rituals that we put into place. And so if you guys have watched our other shows, we love our crystals, and we have a fun crystal that we have been working with through these energies. You want to share what it is, Corbin?
Yeah, I'll pull it up. We have Labradorite. That is our crystal spotlight for our Gemini full moon here. There we go. That's getting in there nice and pretty. Look at all that Labrador essence, as they call it. That's the shine that happens there. Jake, do you want to explain how that works?
Yeah. So the Labrador essence is really cool. It's physics, right? The way that the light interacts with the like molecules of the rock. Basically, the light goes in, it bounces between like the layers and like the fractals within the stone, and then it's reflected back out as that blue, that gold, or that green. And I love, we did a little bit of research, of course, because we always like to learn more about the crystals as we work with them. And one of the things that we learned was that one of the myths of Labradorite is that someone struck the cliffs at Labrador and they released the northern lights into the sky, and the light that was left in the stone became Labrador essence, because that's where Labradorite comes from in Labrador. So was really cool, really fun, and is definitely a perfect stone for the now moment. I mean, as Pisces, we work with
Yeah.
labradorite a lot. It's definitely one of our favorite things. We have a lot of pieces of it.
Yeah. This we affectionately call our dragon scale, and we keep it right by the bed because, yeah, just a great protection friend.
Yeah, great protection friend for sure. It's also definitely one that's good to work with when you are doing reflection or intuition work, or working on kind of the shadow work, which is definitely a theme of the moment.
Well, and labradorite is a form of feldspar, which moonstone is as well too. And so, just like Jake was saying, around these topics of reflection or any sort of like other lunar quality, labradorite is a great stone for that, or probably to work with for just about any full moon. Labradorite, the shifting of that color, the way that the light fractals and moves throughout the stone itself, really can help us to understand that this is here to really help us change and shift perspective. And if there's something that really comes up at any sort of full moon, it's this notion of seeing your own shadows, working with what's underneath the surface. And it's so magical and cool that underneath the surface is where that reflection of the light happens. And so, it just helped me to think about, even inside of the darkness, there's always that light. You just kind of have to change how you're showing it here and there to see the reflection of the light. So I think it's not only great for this one, especially because it's a Gemini moon. We have that mutable energy, that kind of ebb and flow, that start stop going on right now. And labradorite can kind of just help us go along with the waves of the season.
Yeah, very Piscean. And along those same lines, if you guys haven't seen my show from last night, I talked about 3i Atlas, past lives, future lives, and psychic gifts. And this is a great stone to work with as well, around developing and stepping into and reclaiming your psychic gifts. And so, especially with 3i Atlas coming through, and the light codes and the energies that it's bringing in, and kind of the heralding that it's doing around this moment, I think it's a great time to work with it for that too.
Yeah. Go ahead. You should read the quote. I think it was really good.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
We pulled a quote from one of the people that we watched their video on this stone, and they said labradorite isn't soft energy, it's electric, alive, and one of the most powerful crystals for shadow work, scrying, intuition, and transformation. When everything feels dark, hold it in your hand and turn it slowly. The light's still there, you just need the right angle to see it. Yeah. And I think that's a really potent and important message for the moment.
Do the
show us the labradorite.
Shoom, 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 shoom.
Oh, and I love this from Jody too, saying,
Hey, Jody.
I use my labradorite to connect with the galactic family.
Yeah.
Yes. Hello, Jody. Good to see you. And hi, Golden Trinity. Wonderful to see you here too. Definitely a good stone. I feel like very cosmic, right? That the Northern Lights, right? The Aurora Borealis.
Yeah.
It's that connection to, it's that kind of in between, connecting us to the galactic. I love that, Jody.
Yeah.
Beautiful indeed.
So like we said at the top, just kind of shifting up the vibes of this show here. Like we said, this is going to be more focused on stories of what's going on inside of the lunar cycle itself. I remember when I was studying astrology and learning about the idea of transits, there's a Indian word from the Vedic tradition that is graha, and it's this idea of being grabbed by or grasped by the planets as they move throughout. And there's really something about each, moon that we get pulled into or drawn to, or something grasps our attention. And so this is really about that lived and embodied experience of just the energies. So not as much of the forecasting, more of the storytelling.
Yeah.
Definitely there will be like chart videos that I do on my own, as well as, corresponding moon meditations that Jake will be doing on his own as well.
Yes, things will still be unfolding, and still want to bring you guys the same things because we're passionate about those things, but figuring out the right concoction, right?
Yeah.
And with this show, I know for myself, like hearing other people's experiences, like when Corbin shares with me like what is going on for him and then how that astrology ties in, or how like he sees that in the astrology, it really helps me to understand like, what does this even mean? Sometimes with astrology, it can get jargony, it can feel untangible. And I feel like when we talk about lived experiences, it really helps to bring it down to earth, to ground it in.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I'll point to in the astrology as it relates to even just this new direction that Jake and I are talking about, inside of this full moon here, there's been so many planets that have been retrograde recently. Most of the planets have been retrograde. But what was really notable about our Gemini full moon here was that both Saturn just a few days ago, within the last week, and then Mercury as well, have both stationed direct. And right now they're in a trine from Scorpio to Pisces. And, when something stations direct, that's really the sea change. Love that for the water signs here, of beginning to move in a new direction or a new strategy that's always associated with Mercury. Our shows are very mercurial in the ways that we talk about the things that are going on. And so even when Jake and I sat down and we thought, oh, we should talk about what's going on here and some of the changes, it really reflects some of the astrology that's going on. So you yourself might find that inside of this week, or perhaps just a few days ago, you've started to take a new path forward or a new direction with a project of yours, or just a way that you are, existing. And that really can be something that is happening at the end of some of these retrograde cycles. It's coming out on the other side of it and moving forward in new ways. And so, yeah, I just love that, how it aligns with how we're thinking about this show.
And I feel like Gemini can be like a quick switch too. And you guys probably saw that we were planning on doing our normal show, and then we decided, no, we don't want to do that anymore. We want to do this thing. And I feel like that's a very Gemini thing to do. It's like quick flip.
Yeah.
Also wanted to say hello to Lauren.
Hey, Lauren.
So good to see you. Excited for our show coming up in a couple weeks, and hope you're doing well. Sending you love.
Yeah, lots of great stuff in December.
It's a good month. It's a good month. I've got a lot of good things cooking for you. Another session coming out next week. The show with Lauren coming up. Soul and Corbin and I will be live next week.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun. I'll get everything scheduled soon so you guys can plan accordingly, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun month. So yeah, like Corbin said, new show, new direction, definitely a thing. And Corbin also mentioned like the talking aspect of what we do and how mercurial that is. Well, this is a Gemini full moon. This is an air sign. And so we were reflecting on the importance of talking at this moment, and especially talking about the shadow work and the inner work that you've been doing. Especially since the eclipses. Do you want to say a little bit?
Yeah, sure. If we just look at the general trends inside of the astrology, there haven't been a lot of planets holding down the air signs recently. I think Venus left, she left Libra, I don't know, somewhere in November. So it's been a moment since we've had some good representation for air, and we've had so much stuff in the water, right? All of the planets were in the water signs. And if you think about the qualities of water, well, water is not very talkative. Water, from an astrological lens, is kind of like, or it just makes weird noises and doesn't actually communicate. And so, I mean, I have my Mercury in Pisces. I like to honk and just make noises. But, this is a really great moment to begin to talk about, if you haven't started externalizing what you've been going through, maybe all the way back to the eclipse season inside of September. We are midway through eclipse season right now here with the Gemini full moon. And so there's a lot that's kind of culminated since then. There's a lot of shadow work that folks have gone throughout all of the water signs and all of the Scorpio energy that we had. And so, yeah, the idea is like, oh my gosh, begin to talk about this. Gemini, talk about it with a friend. Gemini, talk about it with your siblings. Gemini, talk about it with your extended family. Now would be a time to like orally process some of this, because that really helps us to, more deeply understand our experiences.
Well, and I definitely see, especially in my work with clients one-on-one, but also in the group sessions too, the power of speaking things aloud. And I think it's been one of the main things that I've learned in my journey through life. I spent a lot of years bottling things up, not speaking my truth, not sharing things, not being honest with myself or with others. And I think one of the most profound shifts in my spiritual journey and my awakening and my remembering of myself is the ability to speak freely. And even just today, I had a moment where I got in a bit of a tense situation at my other job, my lifeguarding job, with a patron, and there was some clashing, and it was because of an unreasonable request. And I set my boundary. I said no, and it was really uncomfortable. I was shaken, my legs were shaken, my heart was pounding. But as I like walked away from that, and she was so angry at me, but like I stood my ground. I said no, and I quietly said to myself, like, you're safe. Look at you speaking your truth. Like, this is important. You're doing the right thing. And I think that those moments, especially if they're coming up for you right now, like those can be really powerful shifts where it's going to be easier next time. Like you're turning a corner in that in that shift. And I know for myself, like each time that I do speak honestly and openly, it gets a little bit easier. And not that it's always easy, because I think for me, some of my astrology would indicate that I chose an incarnation where it's easier to internalize sometimes and a little harder to externalize. And so I think it's a big learning opportunity for a lot of us, and especially those of us with past lives or lifetimes where we were silenced or we were persecuted for speaking up or sharing our truth, or, you know, any of those things, right?
Yeah, and it's further asked for in the astrology right now. If we look to the ruler of Gemini, you know, Mercury's over in Scorpio. And so again, it would be to talk about that difficult thing, to talk about your shadow work. Like, yes, there is still an opportunity here for some of those heated conversations and somebody, you know, kind of boiling over. But hopefully on the other side of the retrogrades, people are using this opportunity to, you know, choose a different path forward. We'll all be given a few choice points here throughout this to see which way you're going to go with your, you know, reformed Saturn energy and your reformed Mercurial energy. How will you take that forward now? So yeah. The other thing that I would say too, you know, Mercury is in Scorpio, and I don't know how we got through all of Scorpio season without me saying my favorite thing about Scorpio, which is this idea of cutting yourself open, Mars, the ruler of Scorpio, and showing everyone your guts, you know, underneath the surface, Scorpio, right? And I had a couple really good Scorpio friends coming out of college, and it was kind of the mantra of how we lived our lives for a while, of this like very emotionally, vulnerably open. It's not trauma dumping. It's just, you know, really being transparent about what's going on underneath. And so if that's just another way of saying like practice this, it's a good opportunity, especially as you're working on kind of externalizing what you've been going through recently and then sharing that with others, because the ways that you can connect with others around your experience would really blow you away if you took the time to, you know, share. So yeah.
I also think it is important to mention, like, use your discernment, use your intuition to determine who you share with, because I think part of all of our spiritual journeys is learning that discernment of when to share what and how. And I think when we share things vulnerably, we want to share those with someone that's safe. And so make sure it's someone that's safe, a safe friend, a loved one, someone that you trust, someone that you know will not be judgmental or you know, hate on you for what you say or share or express. And if you are struggling to find someone like that, like, hi, we can help too. Happy to have that conversation in a free consultation or in a one-on-one session, or down in the comments below if you would be more comfortable with that. We would love to be that listening ear or that sounding board for whatever you're going through, whatever shadow work is coming up for you.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Okay, maybe another story from this full moon, because
Oh my gosh.
we've been living it, y'all. So it was Tuesday.
Yeah.
Or was it Monday? It was earlier in the week.
I think it was Tuesday.
It was earlier in the week, and
Tuesday.
Jake and I were just hanging out in our living room, relaxing. We were probably waiting for dinner or something like that. And all of a sudden we heard a big thump. And we thought,
like a loud one.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just a cat, jumping off the chair upstairs.
Well, and all of our cats kind of went, huh?
Oh yeah, and they were all like looking around, and so then that something is going down.
And at first I thought, oh, maybe there's a package at the side door. It was a hollow thump. It maybe sounded like the side door. But when
Someone really pounding on the side door.
When we peeked our heads out, we noticed that a car, we live right along an alley, and our driveway is right next to an alley, and a car careened into the alley and smashed into our Subaru Outback. And
then into the garage.
Oh, and then into the garage.
It slid along, like it hit the bumper, slid along the Outback, the back of the Outback, and then smashed into the corner of our garage.
Mm-hmm. It's very snowy here. It's Minnesota. I mean, the roads have been challenging. We've had almost snow every single day recently. I feel like I've been shoveling all week, but
yeah, but when the snow comes down, you think about it and you say, snow, fresh snow on the road. I'm going to take it a little slow. I'm going to take this turn a little slow.
Yeah. So I'm sure everyone here is well aware that, the full moon is a moment when we're all a little distracted, that Gemini is associated with cars. And you can see how all of this water energy that's been going on recently, the signs do affect the weather that we have. I have a wonderful book on this. And it's just very clear how all of the water planets recently, plus the Gemini full moon, meant a big old car crash in our driveway.
Yeah. And exactly, Golden Trinity. I mean, it's good that we're okay. And
absolutely.
Truly, like the damage, like her car was definitely more damaged than ours, because there was a bunch of like blue windshield wiper fluid all over, and like part of her headlight was stuck in the snow because our driveway like goes up a little bit. It's like a little hill, and so she definitely like slid kind of underneath our car, hit the trailer hitch, and then our garage, like there's a little bit of a crack in the wood siding, but like structurally it's still sound, because the Outback I think took most of the slowed the car down a little bit.
The trailer hitch.
Yeah, the trailer hitch did just carved out a bit of her headlight.
So again, there's always a good reminder around any full moon that folks are more distracted, that the roads are a little bit more
drive defensively.
Chaos. Yeah. But especially when you can see that inside of a Gemini full moon too, that really talks about movement around your local community. Just hands at 10 and 2, y'all. Be a little extra careful right now.
Yeah.
And especially, I'd say like half of the US has snow right now. There's a lot of extra water still going on. So just a heads up with that. Saturn will be in Pisces until February of next year. So it might be a snowy winter.
Yeah. Hey, Ken. Good to see you. No worries. I saw you pop into Lynn, so good to see you as well.
Ken.
Nice to have you guys here. We send you love. All right. So yeah, that was a pretty wild moment. And really, I mean, Corbin immediately was like, all right, add that to the list.
Yeah.
put that down. I think it might've been the first thing we put on the list, because it was pretty dramatic. It was pretty like spot on with the astrology.
Yeah.
But another side of the astrology, another way that this has been expressing in our lives. And really, you guys, if anything like hits home for you, if you've had any similar experiences, or this what we're talking about reminds you of something, share it in the chat, share it in the comments below, because again, like sharing what comes up for us helps all of us to understand more of the astrology and how it's lived. And I think that we've talked about this, like everyone should be an astrologer, because it's being in tune with the cosmos and in tune with yourself. And so I think the more we work together on that, it helps, right? So another way that it showed up for us, though, is just a whole bunch of social networking, like so much networking. For me personally, I mean, and both of us have ended up in situations, but it's been definitely kind of level up for me. I ended up getting invited by a beautiful, wonderful client to this networking group. And then that ended up spiraling into client sessions and consultations and meeting people and talking with people and sharing what I do with a whole new slew of folks. And this is really like business tilted. This is a group of entrepreneurs and business owners. And it was just really cool to be given this opportunity. And it even ended up that I got invited by one of these people to an event the next week. And so I did like a little tabling event earlier this week where I met more people, and I got invited back to this group. And so it's just been like a whole bunch of connections and networking and talking and sharing and being in social circles and small talking. And it's been really fun to see how that's come to life. And you also ended up in a situation.
Yeah, I mean, Tuesday night, I had 2 different like clubs or groups that night. And, I worked all day on camera. And then, for 4 hours that night, I was in different small groups online sharing, connecting. So yeah, I mean, just kind of ditto what Jake is saying here. To connect this with the astrology that's going on, though, I really want to draw attention right now to the fact that, the sun and the moon, we're having a like a mutable cross to the nodes. And so these connections that are coming in right now are definitely faded. Like some of the folks that are showing up are really here for maybe more than just the like, hey, hello, hi, how are you? So really keep your eyes open, keep your heart open, let your body tell you who amongst these new acquaintances has a lot of significance. Because there's a lot in the astrology right now. It's speaking to changes going on inside of relationships. And one of the things that I think is really going on inside of this Gemini full moon is that some of the new people that we'll be working with next year, when Saturn and Neptune move into Aries and when everyone gets back into their, next masculine signs, these people, I think, will be part of the folks that we are working with and connecting with, and they might help us in some of our new and burgeoning missions, passions, projects, that kind of a thing. And so, yeah, just, it might be a really good acquaintance that you're making right now, or a really strong connection, because just where we are in this season and the position of the nodes and where we have the moon and the sun right now, it would lead us to think that there's something special about some of these connections, like really special.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, we'll see how it all unfolds with this group of folks, but it was really a moment where like I made connections with people that felt like soul family. They felt like soul connections.
Yeah.
Like it was like an immediate like, oh my God, yeah, we love each other. What? But then also even just like the group as a whole, I go into this networking group and it's there's a few spiritual folk in there, which surprised me, honestly, because I was expecting very like suit and tie business folk. And sure, there were the financiers and the like real estate folk and some of like the more traditional business leaning people, but I just really felt comfortable in that group. And so it's interesting that you talk about that, because I feel like the connections that were made really felt like not forced, not weird. It was like, yeah.
So that's one side of the relationships that are going on right now. I know. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I love this comment, Jody. And for those of you who don't know, Jody is a wonderful card reader and has her cards on Facebook. And I love when you share, Jody. But yeah, the 10 of Pentacles, the tarot card, definitely the energy of coming together, and especially with like family type or soul family type. That's that like abundant, grounded, loving connection, right? Yeah. Really spot on. Great point.
Love that. So we got the high highs, we got the new people coming in, we got people who are just vibing with us, that are in the same wavelength. I have heard, though, through like quite a few people that the holidays last week were not great for a lot of folks. I've heard a lot of themes around like difficult things inside of families, inside of the family relationships, the family dynamics. Gemini full moon, I've heard it more inside of sibling relationships. from a couple of my friends and colleagues. And so, this is the other side of the coin, right? Um, People come, people go, relationships are here for the good, the better. And, we continue to kind of move along with that. Um, yeah, maybe you can speak more pretty about this.
Oh, I mean, I think that one of the things that I've learned through my work is that um, we we oftentimes think of soul connections as those positive relationships, as the easy, beautiful, just like a kindred spirit kind of feel. But one of the things that I've found through my work, both researching and reading other hypnotists' work and with past lives and such, but also with my own clients, is that sometimes those soul connections are with like the enemies, like they're with the villains of your story. And I think that sometimes the tension, and it doesn't need to be like overt where they're like mean to you or cruel or anything. It can just be like butting heads, or that sibling that you just don't get along with no matter how hard you guys try. It can be uh that what's the word,
polishing the stone.
Sure, yeah, like I can't think of the word, but yeah, it's like the challenges oftentimes launch us into where we're meant to go, meant to be, the changes that we're meant to live out. And so I think especially with those closest to us, there are those times where we grow apart, and then we might grow back together to grow apart again. And especially family, I think there can be those ebbs and flows throughout your life, because a lot of times they're there no matter what, but it doesn't always mean that you guys are close or that you see eye to eye. And so, yeah.
Well, and to take it into the astrology, regarding some of the relationships that are being highlighted right now, a reminder, we still have quite a few planets in the water. So we can be healing, we can be bringing, a new perspective to that. But really inside of Sagittarius season with Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, there is a huge opportunity to take a higher perspective and a new perspective, especially if this sort of trauma is coming up inside of those family relationships, moving into a place of unconditional love, moving into a place of, just support, regardless of if you see eye to eye or not, really is kind of what's being called for at this time, especially, if you call yourself a starseed, right? Like, you really need to be embodying that universal love and practicing it first with those closest to you, and in these more difficult situations that might have a little bit more karma tied up into them. So yeah,
and that love can also be something that you share from a distance. It might not be something that you're sending them flowers or like giving them a hug. Like, you might not be able to have contact with them or be able to interact with them for your own good. And so that could be sending them love from a distance and sending them love along that cord between you, rather than
because the boundaries have been the thing that's come up again as I listen to like the thread between this popping up for a handful of people. It really is around setting healthy boundaries. So Jake's right, you can do this from a distance.
Yeah.
Hello to
we've got a couple friends in here.
Moon rising. Is that what it is?
Yeah, Sun and Moon Rising. Hello. We also have Pumpkin Spice Princess popping in, getting ready. Good to see you. And yeah, I have been having the hardest time falling asleep, but then like I want to just like continue sleeping. Like, I don't want to wake up in the morning. Part of that's the cold, right? I just want to stay in my warm bed.
I definitely will wake up, especially around full moons. I'll wake up a couple times throughout the night when the moon is so high and bright in the sky. But that's wonderful, because then you get to, experience it and see it more. So yeah, I like that.
And to answer your question, we are kind of related, but by marriage, we are married to each other. So, but definitely like soul connection. And we've been together for a while. So I'm not surprised you can feel our energy.
2 Pisces, 1, whatever.
There we go. Yeah. And we're both Pisces too. So we do have that similar energy to us from the Pisces standpoint.
So yeah, again, if you're having some of the, more troublesome relationship things that are coming up right now, a reminder, this is on time. and Christmas or whatever, solstice or later holiday seasons that might be coming up that you might be celebrating. There's gonna be another opportunity to stick the landing again.
Wait, are you saying you're a Pisces too? Are you a Pisces too? Because we love the Pisces tribe. And Lynn, this Cancer sun usually sleeps like a baby with full moons. I love that for you, Lynn. I'm sure you have your own moments of sleeplessness. Ah, wonderful. Well, welcome to the Pisces tribe. You're in the right place. In the right place. Oh, I love that. Heart chakra activation. That's it.
Oh,
that's what we brought. Yeah,
Oh.
that's what we brought.
Well, I wanted to talk about the.
You want to pull up your wheel?
Sure. This is okay. So we're supposed to do just more stories here, but this is. I need the wheel to help explain a little bit of a story that's going on, and I also need the help of y'all in the audience here and in the chat to tell me if you're also feeling this too. I am going to start by explaining. So I'm a Hellenistic astrologer, very old ancient techniques. I'm going to talk about a thing here today called contra antiscia. This shows some like hidden relationships that show up in charts. It's not a traditional aspect by any means. What happens inside of antiscia and contra antiscia, we're basically looking at the relationship between light and dark, or between ascensional rising of different signs. And so if we were to, in our minds, draw a line for the equinox here between Aries and Libra, the planets and the signs that are the same distance away from that equinox line have a secret relationship between them, or a hidden agenda between them. Now, this is a very tight thing. You really need to take the two planets and add their degrees up to 30 to make this work. And I'm starting to circle around Pluto here and Uranus, because if we take 2853 and 159 and we add that up, we're going to have 30 and some change. And by golly, we have a moment of contra antiscia between two outer planets here. So what does that mean? Well, it means there might be some sort of hidden collusion going on between these two planets that we might be picking up on, or we might not notice until after the fact. Well, Uranus is here over in Taurus, and it is retrograde at this time. So some of the things that happens when Uranus is retrograde in Taurus is we're going to be taking away things that are pleasurable. We're going to be taking away the comforts in life. There will be a removal, a quick, fast pull away of something. And there might be a little bit of a collusion with Pluto and Aquarius, those who perhaps have power. We are inside of Aquarius here, which should be about for the people, but there's a lot of things that have been happening in the last few weeks where I'm like, oh, what bad actors are taking that away from us now? And if not that, what next? And I am kind of speaking in code a little bit here, but I am also trying to be clear about it just feels like something's afoot. It feels like something is afoot, and here are a few things that remind me of this contra antiscia between Uranus and Pluto. What's going on with the crypto market, y'all? Where did that come from? What's going on with silver? Where did that come from? I was told a story by a friend whose work has gone through, their employer has gone through a reshuffling of benefits recently. And there's been a drastic cutback and removal of the benefits for the people.
I also had an interesting interaction, which some of you might have heard of or been affected by. Though I guess, well, Blue Cross Blue Shield, are they international?
It's another situation of basically systems.
Yeah. So basically this insurance company,
healthcare system,
they decided to scale back and decrease the number of gyms that the seniors that are have their memberships paid for, like are allowed to go to. I work at a YMCA as well. I do hypnosis there, and I also lifeguard there. And so one of the members there was complaining about the benefits changing and that their insurance would no longer cover their membership there. And so they were thinking they would have to switch or change. And it was just a moment of like, oh, and we're going to take this too. And it's just like, what? And then on top of that, there's been all this news lately about the THC products and the CBD products, and how at the federal level they've classified it as a worse substance than it was before, and it means that the allowances for the content in products is like so minuscule that is basically a ban on THC and CBD in this form.
Do you remember how much CBD lotion you used to use?
So much CBD lotion I used to use.
People love the CBD
literally
stuff for
everyone
their
I talk
dogs,
to, like everyone I talk to uses these products in some way, shape, or form. And especially the CBD, it's like such a prevalent thing, and it's such a natural alternative to the normal pain meds. And like people who don't want to take aspirin all day or take Tylenol all day, they turn to CBD because it's natural and it is like more holistic and like better for you in my opinion. And definitely a moment of, again, like, oh, we're going to take that. Oh, and we're going to take that too, because we're just taken.
So again, the idea is, the word here is contrantitia. It relates to a hidden relationship across the equinox line, between two signs. The planets add up to 30 degrees. There's something going on there. There's something afoot. We're just starting to kind of like feel this ourselves. Please share in the chat or the comment if you feel like something's going on. But it seems like there's some top-down things that are happening right now to take away some of those creature comforts, those comforts of life. And I just really think that it's to make us more crabby with each other, and and I think we can overcome that.
Yeah. Well, I think some of it too is oftentimes it feels like they build it up so that you also are fearful and scared of what is going to come next, or what they're going to do next, or the one. And that's so true, Lynn, as well.
And what an underline in a lot of the things that we've talked about here too. So,
well, and that was literally what the older gentleman that I was talking to at the Y said. He was like, it's almost as if they want us sick and unhealthy. And I was like, maybe they do, because they can make a lot more money on you that way.
And I'll remind everyone, I work from a traditional rulership perspective. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn in my books, y'all. There might be great things about Saturn in an air sign. There might be cool things about that, but there is still kind of a cold hand of control that I would associate with Aquarius. So,
well, it's interesting because Aquarius also is like the people, right? And so it can be that tight grip on the people.
Yeah, final grasp.
But you are right, Lynn. There definitely are other plants that can help with pain too. And I think part of the failings of the education system that we have is that we're not taught any of these useful things. I mean, there's no mention in any textbook of like what plants you could turn to in your local area to help you with your pain.
PSP's coming. I love this last part here. Both sides are working on it. I was talking about this first to Jake and saying, well, what is going on? Where can I find this? I have to be able to find this in the chart. And when I was able to locate the contrantitia, that's when I turned to Jake and I said, oh, this isn't like in your face astrology. This is something that like the people who are clued into this, who are using this as a tool, this is something that someone would be aware of and plan for. And so I love this idea that PSP is bringing up here, because I really do think those of us who use this, both for, good and bad, this is one that definitely they would notice and take some action upon.
And I agree with you too. I think that it's all a part of the grander plan here, and it's not always like overt or makes sense or is easy to see, but there is there is a divine hand at play, and I think that's all of our higher selves. That's all of the support from the higher dimensions, and we are moving towards, like you said, we don't need these things anymore, and yet we won't realize that we need to build something else until things start to fall away. And we talk about this in the ways that, you know, you have to release the old to step into the new. You have to make space for the new in order for it to come in. So yeah, definitely a good point there. And right, Ken, I know they did take a huge dump.
Yeah.
But as Lynn said, they will bounce back. I mean,
absolutely.
That's the thing about this. This isn't forever.
I mean, you know, Uranus will go back into Gemini, right? There's going to be a reworking of the equation here just around the corner. This is the interim, right? We saw what happened last summer when Uranus entered Gemini, what happened with the digital assets market. We'll see that happen again. It's a good opportunity for people to get in the game right now if you haven't already done so. So anyways, that I think is kind of like the idea of our new show here.
Yeah. Hello, Sylvia. Good to see you.
Hey,
Thanks
Sylvia.
for popping in. Sending you love as well. So yeah, this is the idea here, guys. Sharing a little bit, reflecting a little bit, giving you guys the opportunity to reflect a little bit as well. Because I think oftentimes, especially with astrology, if you're so stuck in the forecast, like you end up being ahead of things and not necessarily
the creators who will put out their, you know, Sagittarius new moon video like tomorrow.
We love you, like, Pam Gregory, but
love you for sure. But let's take some time
honor
to
the moment,
steep the tea and drink the tea before moving on to the next one.
Yeah. And I think so often we can just get stuck in that forward and not as often take those moments to reflect back. And I think, like we talked about, the reflection on how the astrology like came to life in your world, in your reality, is how you start to learn and identify how the astrology works for you and understand more of your own place within the cosmos. I know that I've noticed that for myself, and I'm certainly not claiming to be an astrologer yet, but
you're learning a lot, though.
I've definitely learned a lot. Absolutely. I mean, it's impossible to live with you and not absorb a bunch. But definitely, I think a good practice to have. And so we thought this would be a fun way to kind of flip the moon show on its head. And at some point, we will start to bring in some solo shows with Corbin and forecasting. I'm going to keep doing my meditations, and we'll bring through some moon meditations as well, still focused around the energies of the moment. So you guys can still work with that, but giving you the opportunity to do that on your time and when it works for you, because I know that not everyone can meditate live.
Well, and then also giving everyone the opportunity to just share what's going on with them. Again, you know, the energy of the full moon comes in a few days beforehand. You know, this is a great opportunity to share with our community here what's going on for you. We know that not everyone has all of these places in our regular lives to just share. And so bring your stories, bring what's going on. You can leave it as a comment before we even start. And it's something that, you know, we would talk about inside of the show. To me, astrology is really about the lived experience of it. And so I think it's just really fun to, this car crash that happened this week, or the crazy amount of networking that we did. You know, if you don't take a moment to reflect on it, you just sail through right into the next week and not even realize like, oh, that was the significance of this moment. And that connection that I made at that networking thing, that person's going to help me with that mission I've been trying to get on. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. You know? So yeah, come reflect with us.
Come reflect with us. Absolutely. Before we go, just want to remind you guys once more about the fairy event coming up on the 13th. If you haven't gotten your ticket yet, do that. Grab it. It's going to be so fun. It's only $11.11, so very affordable. Come and have a fun little experience, sharing your own experiences with fairies, your own stories if you have them, or just listening to others share. And then we'll have a guided meditation to connect with the fairies. I've already got some wonderful folks signed up, and so I'm so excited to share this with you guys. And I want as many folks as there can be there. So I also want to remind you guys that here.
You have my site on here.
I will pull it up.
Oh, you're fine. PiscesPortals.com. The portal's open, and offer a couple different readings there. Natal chart readings, forecasting, anything that you need. You can always just let me know too. And yeah.
Yep. And I want to remind you guys too that you can learn about more of my services on my site. And then also, if you want to take advantage, I am gifting y'all 10% off of all of my services, my one-on-one services for the month of December. So all month long, you'll get that 10% off. It's already plugged in and programmed in for all of my services here. And that's all of my one-on-one services. So if you've been holding back or waiting on a deal, here you go. It's a deal. And I really wanted to, kind of give a little gift for the end of the season. Reminder that this is just for booking. So you can book in December and you can pick any dates. You can pick January, you can pick into February. I think I have a little bit of availability into February. It's usually 2 months of a window. So take advantage of it. And yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, happy full moon
Happy
again.
full moon.
Let us know in the comments.
Did you like the show?
Yeah, and give us a story about what you're going through for this full moon.
Yeah, please share, because I mean, I love to talk. We love to share, but we want to hear from you too. All right, guys, sending you guys love. Oh my gosh, Sylvia, go take a nap. Only 3 hours last night. Oh. Yeah, we have been chatting in the chat about the difficulty sleeping. So you are not alone.
And I'm like that on every full moon, Sylvia. And I just take it as an opportunity to look at the moon a little bit more. You know?
Yeah. All right. Send you guys love, and we'll see you all soon.